I'd like to call to order this regular board meeting, April 28, 2022. Jeremy, can you please call roll?
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Mr. Bostic.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mrs. McMacken.
Here. And could everyone join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So if everyone has had the opportunity to review the meeting minutes from our work session and from our regular meeting last month, if nobody has any additions or changes to be made, let's get a motion for approval.
So moved. Second?
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries and the meeting minutes are approved. So moving on to the agenda, are there any changes or updates to be made with the agenda? Okay, hearing none, can I get a motion to approve the agenda
So moved.
in a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries and the agenda for tonight is approved. So for the board reports, Mr. Bostic, do you happen to have an update for us?
Very quick, and Dwayne, if you want to jump in, he knows more about the programs. We had our Upper Valley Community Board meeting on Monday at Pickle High School. And Rob was there and talked, and Dwayne was there showing them the satellite programs. What I wanted to say, short and sweet, is the board and the members from our other schools were extremely impressed by all the programs we have out there. It's just incredible. And that's going to be expanding. I guess up in Shelby County is going to be expanding some satellites, and it's great for the kids. I mean, it gives them more options rather than, just go to college. There's all kind of neat programs going on. Anything, Dwayne?
We have a number of students that really want to do some of the career technical types of things, but they don't want to leave their friends. They don't want to leave things like show choir or marching band and those kinds of things. So this gives them a lot of options. And we really, a few years ago, we talked about repurposing that whole 500 wing, which was where all of our shop programs were. So through our partnership with Edison, the Career Center, they were able to come over and help organize those rooms, put them together, and now we've got programs there, and they can still be linked right to the Career Center, but stay within our school and still engage in some of the programs they want to do. And you're right, we were very fortunate to get that done. So Sydney has come and looked at our programs, and a number of schools have come to walk down and just see how that partnership is working, because quite frankly, the Career Center is running out of room. There's a lot of kids now that want to take that pathway after graduation, and they can't take them. There's a limit to how many kids they can physically take, so they're looking at these satellite sites to get more students into the programs, and we're really lucky to benefit from their assistance to get that wing put together so that students could do that. So it's a win-win.
I think the really interesting thing about the whole program is, too, we are probably we're closest in proximity to Upper Valley, so it's a natural partnership that we have, and Jason and Dwayne are very good about both programs, trying to get whatever we can to give our students as much as we possibly can, as many choices.
I want to give Rob a lot of credit too, because he meets regularly with them and keeps those programs well sustained, and there's a great partnership between the high school and
I knew that
Career
was going
Center.
to
You're
happen,
right.
Rob.
So, yeah. I don't want to neglect that, because he's been
I know,
a key role in that.
he has, and that high school staff has embraced
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
So, yeah, so Kelly, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so do we have anything from hearing of the public on the agenda items? No. Okay, so Mr. Hiddle, you can proceed with your agenda.
Good evening. Are there any questions about the financial reports that were attached? Next thing on the list tonight is to approve the student accident insurance program. It's underwritten by Mutual of Omaha and by Health Special Risk. We do this every year. It gives our parents an opportunity to protect themselves from student athlete type of injuries and other types of things that can happen in gym or whatever here on our property. So it gives them a little bit extra insurance if they're interested in purchasing that. And item number 3 is the approval of the holiday list. There is an addition of Juneteenth, which was passed by the Ohio legislature, and so we will be honoring that holiday. So now update that list. Are there any questions about anything?
What does it run a family for the insurance for the kids about?
I do not know right off the top of my head, but I'll check
Okay,
and email
that's fine.
you. I can't remember off the top of my head. We did a comparison study a year ago, like what,
Right.
and this was the better priced option with better coverage. I do know that we compare it, but I just can't remember the number.
So is it mostly, like you said, for athletes? I mean.
Yeah, and there's a special rider on there if you're a football player, because they're obviously more likely to get injured, although some people will say soccer people are more likely to get injured. But for whatever reason, there's a rider on there. If you're a football player, it's a little bit more expensive. I might have some of that in there. I'll check. I need to type. Is it in there, Tony? Do you have a number? And that's what I'm saying, like, that's, on the top of my head, I couldn't.
There's multiple numbers because there are multiple options. When I pulled it up there,
It looks like it could be from, without the dental plan, it's $86.65 on the low and $132.65 on the high.
A year?
365.
Yep. Yep. So, it's reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So it's something that I hope parents look at. I hope parents want. That's available on the website so that they can get that stuff. And then I don't know if Chip includes that in the stuff that gets sent out or not, but I'm pretty sure that he does. So, I mean, but there's different coverages and different options. It just depends on. There's several sheets on it. So.
We always have a section on the website. Well, actually, we're working on that right now. That will have everything that they need to know for the next school year in terms of school fees and kindergarten registration, and that insurance piece is always on there for parents to see. So it's kind of up front and center.
Perfect.
Do you ever have many that take advantage of that?
It's private health information,
Oh,
so we
so
have.
you don't
That's
ever
always the thing.
know.
Like this is almost a formality that we just allow them to sell it, basically, and then
From there, you
they
don't know
market it
anything
out
else.
and take care of it from there. I mean, of course we encourage it just because
Sure.
it does help protect. It covers a whole gamut of things, but yeah, we've always asked because we're always wondering, like, are people taking advantage of it or not? But they can't give me any information. Not even a number. I asked. So.
Okay. Well, if nobody has any other questions, can I get a motion to approve the treasurer's agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Jeremy, call roll, please.
Mr. Frazier,
Aye.
Mr. Bostic,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye. All right, the treasurer's agenda is approved, so we will move on to the superintendent's report with Mr. Thompson.
Thank you. At this time of the year, it's a good time to review a lot of things that are happening and some of the great things that's happening in the building. So, it's an upcoming event. So I thought the principals can share a little bit of that. And I think Eric looks like he's going to go first from Washington. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Hughes.
So I'm going to speak for my building and also Spring Creek. We have some similar things going on. So first off, I know we both have had our first grade music program. Ours was a couple weeks ago. Spring Creek's was recently. Those went very well. Students did a great job with those. Write to Read weeks, we did them a little bit different. Ours, we had a week Spring Creek, they did it on their activities on Fridays. Kids really enjoyed it. We had a lot of participation with the at-home reading and bingo games that we had, and then for us, we also had a Scholastic Book Fair. So we were able to get a little bit over $4,000 in Scholastic store dollars for us to be able to buy books for our students for next year too. So that went really well. We're going to be having our 3rd to 4th grade transition days are coming up May 16th and 17th. Looking forward to our students going over to Central, spending some time over there to get familiar with the building. And our TBT teams have been working collaboratively on our curriculum maps and pacing guides. Some things that we found this year that we kind of talked about is our teachers were on the same page with what they're teaching, but not always what they're teaching in the same sequence. So working on trying to get that honed in a little bit, and we've seen a lot of great work out of our TBTs, but that's been crossed. Both buildings have been working together. Our teams have been meeting, our BLT leads from each grade level have been meeting with our curriculum and coaches, and working on getting that really fine-tuned for next year, and looking forward to that work going on. That's all I have for this one. Any questions?
Eric,
Yeah.
do you and Spring Creek ever have like 1st grade meetings together, or 2nd grade, 3rd grade?
We don't very often. We have over the last couple of weeks going through curriculum maps. We've also tried to get it set up to where our BLT leads from each grade level, our leadership team, to where we've tried to encourage them at least once a month, once a quarter, especially with new pacing guides, to get together and kind of see how's it working for us, how's it working for you guys, try to make some notes as a collective group. Because we do know we get kids that move. We get sometimes where our kids will open enroll. They might be at our building and then go to Spring Creek, or Spring Creek and come to us. And sometimes they open enroll and stay in the building. Other times they need to move due to transportation needs and things that way. And one of the things we've talked about is if our teachers are teaching something at this pace and they're teaching something here in the same quarter, because it's the quarterly standards, we might be creating some gaps. So we've been trying to get a little bit more communication over the last couple of weeks, and the hope is that that will roll into next year too. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
I think you guys are aware, but for the viewers at home, there's a lot of acronyms. So
Yeah.
DLT is our district leadership team, which is representation from all the buildings that come together at a district level to discuss the curriculum and other things. And then BLT would be building leadership team at their buildings, and then they have TBTs, which are teacher-based teams. So there's a 3-tiered kind of effect that all works together to get to that ultimate goal that we're working towards. So we're used to throwing that out there, so I just want to make sure people remember them. Thank you, Mr. Hughes.
I'm gonna head to softball game.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Butler.
All right, so one of our building goals was parent communication, really opening up those lines coming off a year of COVID, and then a year last year we missed some kids because they chose the remote option. And hopefully that parent communication led to positive behavior. So just a couple of statistics up to today. One of our success-bound pieces, which we're getting back to, is we feel that kids are going to be successful with 3 office referrals. Those are when kids are sent to the office out of the classroom because of some behaviors. So we measure the positive. So our first quarter, we had 99% of our student body, and right now I think our enrollment's right at 756. So 99% of our student body was at 3 or less referrals for that quarter. Second quarter, 98.3%. Third quarter, 97%. And even through testing and the end of the year insight, right now we have 98.1% of our kids with 3 or less office referrals. And for the total, 92% of our population is meeting our success-bound requirement for that. And a lot of that credit goes to our staff, who is tracking how many times and being intentional with their communication beyond the parent-teacher conferences that we have a couple of times a year, but reaching out not only just with concerns, but also to celebrate the great things our kids are doing. So I thought that was pretty awesome to highlight. The other building goal we have is to increase reading scores. How we measure that is we hope using an assessment system that students achieve. It's an ABC kind of system, and 3 letters more from where they started. And right now, we have 90% of our students have already met that target of increasing their reading score, and what those 3-letter jump means is that they've increased a grade level, at least minimum. So that's really exciting as well to see that our students are improving their reading with whatever level they're at. Some of the highlights, I think a big highlight starts with this Saturday at Pickle Central from 1 to 5 is our district art show. One of the things we're highlighting this year is our art teacher, Sarah Fromhold's mural, and she painted a mural on our main hallway wall. Highlights some national figures, some world figures, but also highlights some figures from Pickle, Ohio that have positively impacted the world. We then partnered with the high school and the high school Damien Skeens in the media program. They made videos, so not only do you see their picture, but during the art show, there'll be a presentation, a video show of what those people from Piqua did, which is really exciting. And our ultimate goal is to have plaques made, and it's already in the process. The grant has been written and accepted, to have QR codes where anybody who visits our building can take their phone out, take a picture of the QR code, and see the face, and then see a historical perspective of what those people contribute to society. So that's really exciting. Probably one of the highlights of our students, the thing you remember from elementary school, was field day. That's coming up. We just announced today that Kona Ice is going to be one of our stations for each of the grades field days, and the kids are jacked about that. The end of the year community days, this is one thing we started last year, is that we take 2 days and really getting kids out in the community. Some of the activities include, we'll visit the senior center, and the students will go and do chalk pictures for the senior citizens, come out and start having some conversations. We have a group walking to Hartselle just to talk with the Hartselle people. We have people going to the cemetery to help out with some landscaping. We have people making items for local animal shelters. So just really engaging kids and giving back to the community, making those last couple of days impactful at Piqua Central. We also have a 5th grade concert coming up. Like Eric mentioned, we have the transition day, which is exciting for us because, and we're doing a little bit different this year. We're now combining the previous years. We always had Washington over, then Spring Creek over. We're combining this year. So we're making the groups smaller and combining classes from Washington and Spring Creek to tour our school together. So already trying to make some of those connections with students from the other primary school. And we also have our 6th grade transition day coming up at the junior high. Just another great event where our students super nervous about going to the junior high and all that, but just getting a chance to see the great people over there, the great staff, the great students over there, highlight that's coming up. So that's what's coming up at Piqua Central. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
Okay, quickly, at Pickle Junior High School, a couple of our building goals to highlight. One of the big things we wanted to hit going into this year and working with our building leadership team was really honing in our teacher-based teams in all of our departments and really making those very productive meetings. We scheduled them this year out right from the get-go, every 2 weeks. Every department meets every 2 weeks. I have to give a lot of credit to Scott Bloom coming in and working with our teams this year and really keeping us focused on the process of talking about student learning and student achievement. The process has happened that those meetings have become what I would hope they would become, which are planning meetings for those teachers to work together to say, this is where our kids are, what do we do now to get them to the next step? So that's been really positive. We use a rubric to measure whether we're meeting the goal, and our goal was to have at least a 3 on this rubric that we have. This is a 3 out of 4, at least a 3 in all of our TBTs, and we're at minimum a 3 in all of our TBTs this year. So we're excited about that. Our teachers are doing awesome. Our other goal, more of our success-bound goal, was to really take our advisory time and make it structured and make it productive as much as possible. And our teachers worked hard over the summer to come up with a list of very specific activities that kids should be working on during that advisory time every day. And so Chad and I do spot checks at least quarterly to see are kids engaged in those kinds of activities when we pop in. And we're hoping for at least 90% of the, not hoping, our goal was 90% of the students would be engaged when we popped in. And on all of our walkthroughs we did, we were at, it was either 92 or 93% of our classes, our advisory classes, were meeting that 90% goal. So I feel like that's one we can kind of check off and ramp up next year. So we're really excited about both those goals. In terms of upcoming events, May is crazy at the junior high. Maybe the high school still has this, I'm sure. But lots of things coming up. May 4th is the 6th grade visit. They're coming over. My favorite part of that is our kids run that. Our student leadership group takes the reins on that and runs with it. And it really, you see that he's right. They're really nervous when they come in and when they walk in. And when they're walking out, they look different. They look relieved. They look excited. So it's always a fun day to meet those young folks coming over. We have that. Next Thursday and Friday night, we have our junior high musical, Legally Blonde Junior. Tickets are going fast, so if you want to get tickets, stop out to the junior high. I think we've sold somewhere over 300 total tickets now. So I hear them every day after school practicing. They're really good. I'm biased, but they're really good, so it's going to be a great show, so stop out. We have our 7th grade Olympics, which also is a student-run activity. One of our young ladies, Caitlin Shakta, set this up last year. I think I presented about it last year. That's May 12th. Every 8th grader's favorite thing, farewell, is coming up May 20th, the 8th grade farewell dance. May 20th, I believe, is the date for that. Band concerts, choir concerts coming up, so lots of things going on, including baseball, softball, track. Our teams are doing really well. I think somebody presented on my behalf last month because I was sick. But our number of students engaged in activities in the spring is amazing this year. We have close to 90 kids on our track teams. We have 2 baseball teams, a softball team, and we have quantity and we have quality. They're doing really well. So lots of good, fun engagement. Questions? Okay, thank you.
No questions. Thank you.
I'm gonna go watch baseball myself.
Okay.
Nolan, would you go next? We'll let Mr. Messick go after you, because I think you might want to share some of the same things. And Nolan, of course, is our student representative. So Nolan, share what's going on and tell us a little bit about the senior life at this point.
So seniors are running the show at the high school for the 16 school days that we have left, and counting down with the 29 days left for graduation. This week was a pretty busy week with senior announcements. The honors list was posted. 53 students are getting honors diplomas, 50 students are getting honors cords, and 37 are getting both. And 17 students have the presidential award. The class memories were also decided this week. The class song is Where All the Time Go by Dr. Dog. Our class motto is Our lives are before us, our past is behind us, and our memories are forever. Our class flower is white peonies, which represent prosperity. And our class gift is providing funds to help decorate the front entrance of the high school. We have 3 big senior events coming up besides graduation. We have Senior Sunrise May 16th at 6:15 a.m., Academic Signing Day May 18th at 12:30, and Class Night May 25th at 7. So for everybody else in the high school that's not a senior, we have the District Art Show, which is Saturday at Piqua Central. On May 1st is the Nhs Induction Ceremony, and there are 14 members being inducted. May 2nd is Top 100. May 7th is prom. May 15th is the spring choir concert, and May 21st is the Just Us Show Choir concert. And then finally this week at the high school is Hope Squad Suicide Prevention Team Spirit Week. So this week we've had Pajama Day with a coffee bar, Suicide Prevention Color Day, which is yellow, a photo booth for Beach Day, and the show choir had a show today for Rainbow Day. And then tomorrow is Silly Hats for Hope Day, and there's a craft during advisory.
Cool.
And that's it.
What's Senior Sunrise Day? Sorry. What's that?
We just go to the parking lot and watch the sunrise and eat
Aw.
donuts.
Is that a tradition?
I think it's new this year.
Huh.
Yeah.
You don't need to go, Rob, now. We just heard it all.
Well, I just said, look what he did to my list.
I know, right? I saw you crossing it out.
That's why we had him go first.
Real quick, where are they decorating? By the new sign going out there off of Looney, or?
I don't know. All I know is
Where are they decorating? Is it the
Yeah,
senior
we've
gift?
been talking about for a while, like on the entrances, the glass entrances, you see a lot of the buildings, and we have them in our class for indoors. There's a screen that kind of goes up that you can still see through.
Yeah.
It says PHS or whatever, and we want something to go in the athletic entrance, going in there that represents our sports, and something
Okay.
that goes into the main entrance. So we've been looking at that for a while. I know Mr. Hiddle has some plans for some things else, improvements in the front, but we thought that would be a good direction for the students to get some money for it. So
Nice.
get back, so it'll be exciting.
Do you have more?
I'm just gonna go real fast. I feel like I should say something. So, we are in the testing season at Piqua High School. So every day we take a different test. As we move through, we're in the state test right now, going into the air test right now, going into our AP testing. So there's an air of confidence right now when our kids are doing the test. Our teachers feel very strongly about the instruction, and I really put it down to a couple of things. I think it's the TBT process that we work through in our DL team. I'm kind of broken record with all of our principals saying this, but it's made a major change in the way that we're talking about student data, and also the work that we've done in the model curriculum. Anyway, it's really transformed the way that we're presenting some things. So it's been a very nice, it's been a really good feeling. Scheduling has started. We're actually finishing up. We're real close to getting finished up. There's been a trend over the last couple of years, and we're seeing it again with this one, is the move from AP courses to College Credit Plus courses. So kids go which we offer at the high school. And also our career programs are getting to the point where they're starting to get maxed out too. So those are good things. So anyway, you forgot to mention who our valedictorian was, Jason Schaefer, and our salutatorian, Hannah Pleasant. Gotcha. And band is at state tomorrow. Yeah, yep. And no matter what, every night there is an event going on at Pickle High School all the way until graduation. And so, anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, Noel, once again. I'm out.
All right. So,
Okay. So now you can proceed with the superintendent's agenda.
okay, we'd like to recommend the board to approve the following donations, and there are some different ones that I would just read real quick. The Elliots to the Brandon Copeland Memorial Scholarship, Park National Bank for the PHS Girls Night Out, and we had a feature on that at a previous board meeting, as well as Awesome Piqua did. Cynthia Cienciola to the PHS Show Choir, probably a proud grandmother there. Pickle Community Foundation to the Indian Nation Station for Piqua. Nourishing Nutrition from Gina Wilthouse to the Spring Creek Wellness Program. Palmer Bolton Supply for the Pickle Junior High School Olympics. Edward Jones Company to the Pickle Junior High School Olympics. And Julian Trevino to the Pickle Athletics Club. And then the Pickle Education Foundation donated to a Careful Corners program as well. So we've got that.
Thanks.
Then recommend board approval to the Spring Creek Primary and Washington Primary School to administer the third grade state assessments for the 22-23 school year using paper. So they find that having the students do paper pencil, since it's their first test, might be a little bit easier than scrolling up and down and trying to read, and they can't take notes on it and those kinds of things. Plus, they don't have the good typing skills yet. So their hope is that they'll be able to write more with paper pencil rather than trying to do the typing types of things. Recommend board approval for the attached Pickle Music Code of Conduct. You've heard of the Athletic Code of Conduct. They've kind of had rules in those programs, but never really a code of conduct. So it's very similar, and it's set up to the Athletic Code of Conduct. It's things that they already know, but it's put into one format, if you will. So
Is that high school or 7 through 12?
7 through 12.
Okay.
Yep. And any kid in any music program, it might be a musical, it might be a band student, show choir. So if they're performing in a music program, it would cover under that, and it does specify that in there. And the directors will go over that with them at the beginning of their seasons and make sure parents get copies of it. Recommend board approval of the attached list of technology equipment for disposal and removal from the inventory. As always, our technology department goes through all those and they store the the pieces that would be good and salvageable, or otherwise they recycle it and get rid of it properly. Recommend the board approval of the attached list of library books at Pickle Central Intermediate. Again, sometimes books just wear out, so they're disposing of those. Recommend board approval of the enrollment of Sona Karamayan. She's from Armenia to the Pickle High School in 2023 school year as a foreign exchange student from the ASSE International Student Exchange Program. And then recommend board approval of the attached school fees. I sent those to you, but just review those really quick. We're not going to raise the school fees this year. We're going to continue to study those as we have. We might recall about 4 or 5 years ago, we actually reduced our fees, and we find that parents can actually afford those and they're paying them more than when they were higher. We can buy the school supplies through our EPC and through bulk supplies and actually get them cheaper than what parents could if they went to the store and bought them. So we can actually pass those savings on to them, so it's a win-win. It looks like they're gonna bring back lunch fees. That's not at our discretion, but they're gonna bring those back, and as a result, we've decided not to raise those prices from what they were when they did away with those 2 years ago. We're gonna keep them at the same, and again, we're gonna study that over the year and make sure that our costs can contain those. Looking at the high school fees, we didn't raise any of those, and just again, as a reminder, we're gonna go through each one of these. We've put a system in place for Sarah Devers out at the high school to actually track the money that we're collecting and the money that we're spending in each one of these categories to make sure that it's right on spot. We don't want to make a profit, but we want to make sure we have enough, especially with inflation that's happening. So we're going to keep those the same, and then after we do the study this year, we'll determine if we have to up those or not. And then finally, we did the waiver for the pay to play last year. Our goal is to get as many kids as we can engaged in our activities. We talked about that, looked at where we are this year. We think we can continue that waiver, and we want kids to have every opportunity to participate as much as we can. We think that that is a real advantage. There are some fees that kind of go along with some of the clubs, and those directors and athletic advisors will advise those kids of that, but the district-wide pay-to-play policy that you see below, we would like to recommend that we waive that again, with the recommendation that we'll continue to study that and see if we ever have to bring that back. And that concludes all of my pieces, I believe.
Looks like it.
Let's see here, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Nope, all right, I think that's it.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
I do have
Yeah.
a question. For number 3, the Pickle Music Code of Conduct, is there a code of conduct for like just extracurricular clubs in general?
No. They're when you're playing athletics or you're in the music program, there's always that, there's an expectation that you're gonna stand out and you're gonna represent the school because you're performing in those levels, and people are watching you and seeing that. So it's really important that students understand that, and that's why that's there. But participating in a club or something like that may or may not be. Okay.
Did you say that the one for the music is new for this?
An actual combined code of conduct is the information's not new.
Okay.
They kind of got rules, and then they got the random drug testing policy, and then they got expectation. You know, it's kind of like in pieces.
Mm-hmm.
The directors all went together and show choir band, everything that we have, and said, let's put together a nice kind of completed packet, just like the athletic has, so we can really review it with students, and it's all in one piece.
Okay.
So there should be nothing in there new for a kid to experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
No surprises. Okay. So if there's no other questions, can I get a motion to approve the superintendent's agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the superintendent's agenda is approved. So now we can move on. You're welcome, with Mr. Lyons and the personnel agenda.
Thank you. And we have a lot of different items on there this evening, and you have the notes. But particularly I want to point out, because the heart and soul of PHS, Carolyn Pearson, has turned in her retirement resignation. And she's been an incredible part of this district for many, many years at different buildings, and is getting ready to wrap up, and we're all going to miss her. And I know we always recognize our folks for retirement coming up, but wanted to mention her, as well as our pending board approval, our newest intervention specialist, Kaiten Beerbaugh, who is here this evening with us. As you know, sometimes people are able to show up at the immediate meeting. We're fortunate to have Caitlin here, and I'd like her to be able to come up and introduce herself, if that's okay. I never tell them up front. I just say,
Caitlin,
hey, come on.
can you keep it under an hour and a half?
I'll do my best.
Okay,
I
thank
can't promise anything though. But yes, I'm Caitlin. I just want to thank you all for this opportunity. I'm very excited to be at the high school next school year. Nolan, listening to you made me even more excited, just with all the opportunities that the students have. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, let's go Indians.
Apparently I should bring him with me to close the deal on something else. Next time. Any questions on the personnel agenda? I also wanted to mention we have on the second page there our new women's basketball coach, Bruce Vanover. Excited to have him on board as well. And again, several things, classified subs, and we're always looking for drivers and we're looking for substitute teachers. So with drivers, we do all the training, we pay for the training, we pay you while you're there. If you're interested in becoming a bus driver and benefits are available to you, please contact me. Questions?
Okay, no. No questions? Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the personnel agenda?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, Jeremy, please call roll.
Mr. Bostic,
Yes.
Mr. Ford,
Yes.
Mrs. McMacken,
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Okay, motion carries and the personnel agenda is approved. No old business, so we can move on to new business.
First item in new business is recommending the board approval of the HVAC agreement extension for the 23 through 25 school years. That's a 3-year extension. We have maintained the same price for the last 4 years. They're willing to continue to do that price for the next 3 years. So with all the inflation and everything going on, it was one of those like, yep, I think we're going to keep doing that. Because we went through the numbers, and when you really like boil it all down, we're getting a great deal because they're covering over $40,000 a year on top of like with expense wise. So things are working out well, and we actually have a dedicated person from Creek who like babies our system. Like he doesn't want people touching it. Like like it's become his baby. So we're very excited to be able to keep that going because he actually has some pride in his work, and we get the same person every time. And you can't say that for everybody who works on your mechanical system. So he knows the system like the back of his hand, and that's a good thing. So.
5 different systems, or is it?
Oh no, they're different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So well, the three are more similar than the other 2 are very different because the 3 were built at the same time, and then we've had the other 2 piecemeal
Junior high, high
along the
school.
way. Yep. So, but we've gotten it to almost where all the controls are going to be on one thing. Where there will probably be some action I'll have you take sometime early, if it's not next month, June, to replace the rest of the JACEs in the high school so that we can get them all on the same system. So that will be closer to $100,000 worth of work, but they're aging out, and so the software can't keep up, that kind of thing. So you've got to keep up.
One location to run tests on all the units?
Will you be able to operate any building from the same system on your laptop?
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to get
That's the
to,
goal.
but we're not quite there yet. So I need a motion for that.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve this extension?
So move.
In a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hiddle, please call roll.
Mr. Bostic.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye.
Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Okay, this agreement extension has been approved, so number 2.
Next item on here is to update the ESSER plan as attached. So the one thing that we've decided to do is to change from purchasing buses to putting that money towards replacing the carpet out of the junior high. And speaking with our legal counsel, and our auditors, if we bought buses, we would need to keep that fleet, all the old buses, because we'd be expanding it for future use. And fiscally, that doesn't make sense, because then we'd be trying to maintain these buses that we may or may not use. We're allowed to use it for capital improvements, like putting in rubber floors at the high school, or at the junior high, and replace the carpeting. So we're gonna switch to doing that, which makes it more compliant with the ESSER policy. So that's why we're approving the plan. We'll put it back up on the website for the public to see, and your approval then helps, so that when we get down the road to, well, why did you spend it on that? We have board approval, we have legal, has written opinion on it, and then our auditors are also aware of it, so it should go through. Because it's a little bit more difficult to get your ESSER stuff through than what you think it is. So they're keeping good track of the money that they're spending.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve this updated ESSER plan?
So moved.
And I'll second. And can I have you call roll?
Sure. Mr. Ford.
Aye.
Mr. Bostic.
Aye.
Mr. Frazier.
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye. Okay, and next item.
Can you read this one?
Go for it.
Recommend board approval of the attached resolution as presented for a one-time stipend for 2.5% to the Piqua City School employees for the 21-22 school year. So 3 years ago, when we did the contract, we were heading right into COVID and everything was shutting down, and we were in negotiations. We were worried about where we were heading, and the association was really good about understanding that and realizing, so going into next year, they would have received a 0%. We know with inflation and everything that's happening, and we're okay, we're better than we thought we would be 3 years ago when all that hit. We thought it was really important to recognize the amount of work that they've put in to keep us open for the last 2 years. We've not shut down once due to COVID, other than when the governor shut everything down, mandated that. We've not shut down one day because of that. So we thought it was really important to recognize the fact that everybody has worked so hard to keep our schools open and keep kids right in front of us within our presence, which is what we believe is best for our students. So this will basically give them that third year and a one-time payment versus a step on the salary, if you will, but it's going to compensate them, which we believe we would have done anyways had we negotiated under normal circumstances at that point. So any questions on that?
I will also add that you all are permitted to vote on this, because I know that is always a question. There is now legal rulings from the Ethics Commission that even though you have ties to employees at the district, that as long as everyone receives the same compensation, that you are able to vote on that. So since this is across the board for all employees at Piqua City Schools, you're good to go.
That won't apply when it comes to like the salary and all that stuff, right?
We will reevaluate that when it comes to that, but for this particular purpose, he says that you were able to do it.
You couldn't participate in negotiation
Yeah.
parts with the spouse, but
They have changed it, so you probably will be able to do it with the contract, but I'm not going to give you that green light yet. But
whenever we compensate, we always give everybody in the district, because everybody plays a role in it. So we don't typically say one group will get this, one group will
Yeah.
get that, and so on. So it probably won't be a problem.
Okay.
But we'll always seek legal counsel on that.
I don't think we do, no.
it literally just changed, so they was like, hey, we could use this, so
We couldn't do that.
there's a legal opinion on that too, so that we have that as backup. We're doing a lot of things to make sure that we don't get in trouble.
Okay.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
So move.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hiddle, please call roll.
Mr. Ford,
Aye.
Mr. Frazier,
Aye.
Mr. Bostic,
Aye.
Mrs. McMacken.
Aye. Okay, so this resolution is approved. So moving on to Hearing of the public for non-agenda items.
Looks like he might have stepped out or left. I don't know. Yeah, if you could.
Actually, yeah, I have a copy of the honors list if you
Don't
guys
see
want to see
them
that.
Okay. So,
I will follow up too and just make sure if he has any questions or
Okay.
anything,
That
I'll
sounds
make the contact.
okay. So our next regular meeting will be on May 19th at 6 p.m. So that's going to be a little bit early next month. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
So,
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Okay, motion carries and this meeting is adjourned.